Everybody, it's Dr. Rimka coming to you from my backyard. And I don't know, it's not really a true confessional. I just wanted to maybe tell some of my practice members or folks who follow me who, I don't know, I think sometimes you might put some of us up on pedestals or, maybe think we're perfect. I think sometimes on my patients, when I'll share a story or a struggle, they are surprised, like, oh, you sometimes have a hard time with that? I'm like, yes, of course I do. Just because you sometimes, you might know the right thing to do doesn't still make it hard to do it. A lot of people make huge mistakes in achieving the quality of life or the quality of health they want because they have bad information. You are perpetually marketed to and psychologically manipulated from big corporations who give just bad information and bad data and quite frankly are in collusion with the government at this point to come up with food pyramids and FDA recommendations that are making you sicker. Okay, so that's a fact at this point. Like, you're being told some really bad advice. You're following what they tell you to do, and yet, look, I'm obese and diabetic. Shocker, because their information is horrible and it's making you sick. So that's very different than really knowing what to do and consciously choosing to do something else, right? Saying, I know this isn't really good for me, I'm going to do it anyway. And sometimes you might say, oh, but I'll make up for it later. And other times it's, I'm doing it on purpose because I want to hurt myself. I'm trying to abuse myself, right? So there's many different motivations people go through with that. So I just came back from Washington, D.C. Many of you know, you've been following the dental device, the ALF device which are stealth braces, basically, that have been installed in my son's mouth. And it's going to be roughly 18 to 24 months of traveling to a dental specialist outside of Washington, D.C. So it requires flying every 4 weeks to go there. And we just came back. So we had the appointment yesterday. So we do that. So I thought, what'll be brilliant, I planned it. And a lot of you know I do variations of fasting. So fasting is a huge topic. I have been fasting off and on for, I think, roughly 22, 23 years, I think, at this point. I graduated from graduate school, I think 20 years ago now. I think we're at the 20-year mark. And so I started in grad school, right? Very common. Natural doctors start doing that. So I was fasting a lot. Didn't understand all the science of what I was doing. I just understood the natural principles of what tribal cultures had done and understood some of the stuff that was doing to heal me. I was mostly inspired by Paul Bragg's work. We didn't know, there was nothing about autophagy. There was nothing about stem cell production and crazy growth hormone spurts by the fourth day. I didn't know any of that. I was just doing a lot of 1 day a week, 3 days a month, and 7 to 10 or 11 days every 3 months. This was kind of what I did for quite a few years. And then I became a mother, and all hell broke loose on my body, and I wasn't doing anybody's fasting. And I wanted to for a really long time. It just seemed like, oh, how am I going to do that? And being pregnant and breastfeeding for so many years, I needed constant, I just didn't know how I would not eat again. I wanted to, but just life and the stress. And I was definitely using food for energy, because when you don't sleep, you go to those things to give you like that hit of feeling good and get the little dopamine. And like lots of moms do. It's like, ooh, that cookie or that wine or whatever people are using, and they feel good. Okay, so I had the brilliant idea. So I'm doing a lot of fasting now. I do different variations of the stuff that I teach, clients to do or teach you guys about. So I thought, well, let me just do this. Like, make it really easy. I'll eat, and then while I'm traveling, I'll put in a longer little, either 2-day, a 48-hour, maybe work up to 72-hour fast. I'm like, is that a good idea? Maybe it'll be stressful. I'm like, no, it'll maybe make it easier, well, I'm with a 12-year-old. I'm having to feed him, right? And we do have some like really cool favorite little places that we try to make it special. We try to make some of this painful health stuff that he has to go through. You make the things around it be cool, and you got to, miss school and miss life, and we got to fly up here, and already all that stuff is hard, and so we find a little gems, and we try to make anchor around these other experiences for something that might be painful and have some discomfort involved, because it does. Well, I was doing okay for a while, and I had to watch him eat the world's greatest gluten-free pizza in front of me, and I thought, I'm like smelling, like, yeah, I'm okay. And the stress of the appointment, and then some of his this, and what happens is, as we install this device, it's causing such tremendous neurological reorganization that you can get some reactivity. So anybody with children with sensory integration disorders, autism, special cerebral palsy, seizures, anything, any of your parents will know, when you do therapies that are actually working on changing the brain, you can get a lot of regressive behaviors, regression in things, and a lot of uptick, like increase in some of the symptoms you are trying to address. So that happens, and it happens right in the office, and it happens, that night, and Mama's stress level, goes up, and I got my own emotions and my own triggers and my own childhood and my own things that were like, woo. So I thought fasting would be a great idea. Give myself a break. Have a lot of ketones. My mind would be clear, all of that. I will tell you, by the 22nd hour, I was feeling like might be having a nervous breakdown, a little bit. It wasn't even him. It was just, I think, I don't know, just the stress of it, my stress of it, implications of stuff, some other things that had happened that day. I was not doing great, and I felt hunger like I don't ever normally feel after 23 hours. I mean, it was so unbelievable by like 4 or 5 o'clock that night. So I was really trying to figure out, if I eat, am I a failure? And what is this going to mean? And am I a hypocrite? And oh my God, my patients be so disappointed in me. And all these people I teach, and oh my God. And, you've done 11 days, you've done 6 days. I just did, I did 6 days in December, 5 days in January. I fasted on my birthday for 5 days. I can do this. I know I can, but it was like, I had to kind of go, was this for $1 million, could I do this? Of course. And I just was like, I was getting cranky, I was being reactive, I was in my own kind of stuff, and I couldn't bring myself present to, I got to get him something to eat, and I really want to eat. I really just want to have dinner with him, and then we were going to we planned it, so I planned we can watch a movie when we go, and you guys know I'm really strict on that kind of stuff, but we want to go see the Infinity Wars, and I've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so Guardians of the Galaxy, we were going to see in the hotel, and we had the plan, and it's like, I really made a bad decision where I'm like, this was actually costing me social connection time with my son, and I said, and I think, is this going to make me crankier, could I do that? I'm like, I'm going to eat, and I went to eat, and I had to really fight off feeling guilty a little bit, but I had to say, the reality is I'm not going to make a choice here. And I can either beat myself up over it or just realize, this is what I'm going to do. I've gone, it'll be 24 hours. That's still a decent fast. I just really didn't set myself up to win. It was maybe a bad plan. And I've already thought, when I take them again, I'm not going to plan this. I'm actually going to plan it to be my feast time, because that makes a whole lot more sense. So I kind of turned it into that, and I know when I'm going to fast again in a few days. And I had to look at it actually, when you fast, you guys, when you do different things, diet variation is key to anything. Doing different things is actually important. And I think I was like, maybe this is a sign of my own rigidity, that I can use this as an opportunity to kind of feast, and I did. And then I happened to find this place for breakfast today, because we had to be in a different hotel, that was amazing magic. My son, it was like magic to watch him, and to not have really shared that experience, they saw what happened this morning. I said, I had a huge breakfast with him, and a lot of carbs that maybe I wouldn't normally eat. And I said, actually it's good though. See, I have to feast from time to time to really confuse the living hell out of my cells, where it's like one day I eat nothing. The next day I eat like, I don't know, 1,500 calories. The next day I eat 500 calories. The next day I eat nothing. The next day I eat 3,000 calories. My body's like, it's really, really good to do that, you guys. If you're doing the same thing, people say to me, I've been on the same intermittent fasting schedule for 18 months and I haven't lost any weight. Yeah, because you do the same. Monday I do this, and Tuesday I do that, and Wednesday I do this, and Thursday I do that, and I eat dinner at the same time. And body hates that. That's not normal. I mean, there's certain things about patterns and rhythms that are good, but actually when it comes to diet and living in nature, there would be a lot of variety. There is feast and famine. It does happen. It can happen, throughout the week. It certainly happens throughout the season. It's very, very normal to happen throughout the season. So, it was a tough call. So I don't know, a lot of you guys go through that, but just so you know, I caved. I was planning on doing it longer. I said, I can't. I'm in just too much emotional discomfort. I didn't go crazy. I went to a Vietnamese place and had it was amazing actually. I went to a really nice place and had a really nice dinner, and it was, low enough carb, but then I went ahead and feasted this morning. So I don't know if I really have a tip for you guys. I just want to kind of let you know, we go through it too. And 1 meal, 2 meals is not the end of my health, and it's not that I'm not a good faster. It's not that I don't have discipline. It's just for, sometimes when you make a plan, you say, I'm going to do a 3-day fast, and you're like at the 18th hour, the 28th hour, you're like, you know what? You can break it. It's not like you failed. And I did. And I think a lot of it comes down to, I was wondering, it might be a shitty idea. I posted in a group to kind of get some support. That didn't really help me. So I'm just kind of an internal person myself. I don't know. Sometimes you're rationalizing, did I go off the deep end? I kind of a little bit did. I mean, I ate a little bit more than sugar than I would have. And then today I said, but let me just feast it. Let me just go ahead. And I had pancakes. Let me just let this be one of my, because I've done keto and other things. And most women actually start doing it and go way too strict on stuff and go way too low for too long. And it's actually increasing in the carbs, cycling it. It's a cycle. Is the thing that'll boost the metabolism. So chances are I actually just upgraded my metabolism like crazy. So, I don't know. I just think you guys should know we struggle. Just because we know things doesn't mean there are days I don't want to not fast, or I don't want to, I'm horrible at drinking water, you guys. I took the salt with me, my Himalayan salt. I thought I had the plan. I had, but things happen and I forgot. It's in my purse and I'm dealing with his stuff and files and this and the doctor and back, and then the reaction, we got to go back in and adjust it. And, so maybe fasting for your cousin's wedding isn't a good idea, right? This wasn't a good idea. And I had to call it quits. And I'm going to get back on that horse and I'm going to continue doing what I'm going to do, because my long-term goal, is cellular repair and autophagy and stem cell regeneration, and to heal my body over different illnesses and damage that has been done to it, and live a long, healthy life. And I think part of what was motivating me too was actually this one. I was kind of into losing weight a little bit, which isn't normally my motivation. So I had a stupid ulterior motive, and I think that made it just not as strong for me. So anyway, I just want to let you guys know it does happen. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you got to say, I got to give up. I did. I think my plan wasn't super smart. I maybe overestimated my emotional capability of doing it. So I broke it early. And the difference is I had to be okay with it. I had to say, you know what, you did okay. And I can make up for it. And actually, might have been the genius of feasting that's actually going to upregulate metabolism. Because that's what your metabolism does. Again, you don't want to do the same thing with your intermittent fasting or your extended fasting schedule. You do want to put variety in there. Everybody knows that in terms of exercise. If you're doing the same routine 6 months, 9 months, it's already, your muscles gotten used to it, they will no longer respond. You do have to change. It's why the idea of things, multi-sport training and CrossFit have gotten really popular. It's the same thing with how you eat. There should be a lot of diet variation, actually. My sickest patients are the people who eat the same, like 4 to 6 foods. That's it. And they've been doing it for years. Like, okay. So they're going to have allergies to those foods. They're going to have sensitivities to those foods. They're going to have a lot of problems. It's classic. So diet variation, you guys, things should change seasonally. Nobody eats the same amount of calories every day. I have no idea what I eat. I don't track any of that. Never have. Well, one time when I did this stupid ass Weight Watchers thing, please God, don't do that. But some days I'm going to eat 3,000, 4,000. Some days I'll eat 0. Some days I'm eating 500, it varies. And I learned this the first time somebody said this to me. I'm going to shout her out here. My friend from high school, Tammy Sims, who has married, they changed her name. But Tammy, out in San Francisco, doesn't even probably know the impact she had on me. I was visiting her in college, so she had like a slick apartment in downtown Detroit. She was living the high-rise life. I think I was in college. I might have been post-grad. I don't remember. And she, real thin, looking real good, all the things. And I'd gained some weight in college, and I'm like, oh, girl, what is it? We went out to eat, and we're eating Pizza Populous, Detroit, thick, crazy Detroit pizza. Went to eat Pizza Populous and other things. I'm watching her eat, and I ate a lot, okay? And I was still thin, but she was skinny. I used to be skinny, and I was a little heavy, right? And I was like, girl. And I finally had to say, back in her apartment, how are you doing this? And she had a fry daddy. She was always frying shit. I'm like, how are you eating like that? And she goes, oh, well, she says, first of all, this is how I eat when I eat. She's like, but Stephanie, I don't eat every day. I was like, what? And this wasn't like she was trying to fast. She's like, I just get busy. I work for like 12 hours and I don't even think about it. So she would skip whole days of not eating, right? And thin and cut. She probably was like 7-8% body fat. She was more of a kind of a semi-pro athlete at that time for a living. So she had a lot of physical activity. But I remember that in my early 20s, don't eat every day. Yeah, I think it was in college. I'm like, how do you forget to eat? Or I said the same thing, like, what do you mean you forget to eat? Who the hell says that? And this is just her natural rhythm. And then a few years later, when I learned about fasting, and I was, put the beer down, college days, and the pizza and the fries and all the other crap every American eats, and I started doing it, I had the same thing happen. Right? Now I understand that was all ketosis. She was just burning amazing fuel sources all the time, so she didn't feel the need to eat. She had no type of eating disorder. She had no type of food issues. When she was ready to eat, she ate. She threw down, ate whatever she felt like it. But she didn't eat all the time. She didn't eat every day anyway. So she was doing all type of intermittent fasting, extended fasting without knowing what it was, because she was just in natural rhythms. She ate when she was hungry, and she didn't eat when she wasn't hungry. She had actual real hunger signals. And I'll never forget that. She planted something in me, and she didn't even know it. So when she watches, she'll hear that. So it's really kind of a normal thing, you guys. Back when I was a kid, nobody snacked. You got in trouble for snacking because it ruined dinner. Now the schools break twice a day for a damn snack. You have breakfast, and then we got a snack, and then we have lunch, and we have a snack, and then we have a school, and we have another snack, and then you have dinner, and you have another snack. That's kind of the problem. It's just people eating too often. So we used to have long fasts between dinner and breakfast. Nobody does that now because everyone's having a midnight snack, a 10 o'clock snack, a 9 o'clock snack, and everything else. Anyway, so there's my not really a confessional, but the thing is, when we do it, I just had to practice grace. I had to practice kindness and say, okay, the mistake really was my plan. I didn't think it all the way through, or I don't know. I didn't really think it through. I thought I could do it, and the emotional needs on me were too high, and I didn't need the stress. It was not feeling like a relief. It was feeling like a stress, and so I enjoyed dinner, and I enjoyed breakfast, and I used that time socially with my son instead of focusing on my health. And I still, I still ate well. I still did what I needed to do. So there's that for whatever it's worth. So when you guys have to change up because plans change, I hope you can go with it and not make it be black and white thinking, which I have done, been very prone to most of my life, very black and white, which means you win or you lose, you fail or you succeed, and failure is bad, and so therefore I'm bad, and this whole circular downward spiral kind of thinking, and I've worked really hard to stop that. So anyway, just kind of let you guys know, we go through it too, and if you do, you can just, it is what it is, right? Life goes on, and there's always tomorrow, okay? See you guys later.